We've got TV show and movie news about the Friday the 13th franchise, taking a look at the weekend's box office numbers, upcoming Blu-ray releases, talking a little bit about the Oscars, and a whole lot more here on this edition of Movie News Daily. Let's get into it. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome back into JC's Movies, where you can see all kind of movie and TV show content with me, JC, especially within the superhero, comedy, and horror genres. So if you're a fan of those, be sure to take a second out, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you anything. We can talk some movies together. Plus, you can get movie news updates into your feed every Monday through Friday with the Movie News Daily Show that you're tuned into right now. That helps out, and you can also help out just with that little like button. Hitting that thumbs up button helps this video hit the YouTube algorithm so to find other movie and TV show fans like you and me. And we got a lot to get to today on the March 16th edition, so let's dive right in. Let's start with a little brief talk about the Oscars from last night, and mainly just wanted to show kind of the official tally of what movies took home awards. One battle after another, claimed the most with 6, Sinners with 4. I think it should have gotten more personally, 16 nominations and only 4 wins, but you know how they feel about horror movies. I just don't know if Sinners didn't win Best Picture. I'm starting to wonder if any horror movie will ever win Best Picture again. Hasn't happened since Silence of the Lambs. I think there's been multiple that were deserving. Sinners maybe at the top of that list, but glad to see it did bring home at least 4 awards. Ryan Coogler wins his first Oscar. Michael B. Jordan wins his first Oscar. And I will say, on the plus side, although they still look down on horror in terms of Best Picture, horror was awarded last night. 8 total wins for horror across Sinners, Frankenstein, and Weapons, as Frankenstein took home 3 Oscars, K-Pop Demon Hunters took home 2, Sentimental Value took home 1. 1 for Weapons, and that is Amy Madigan's Aunt Gladys, awarded for Best Supporting Actress. Very well deserved. Hamnet took home 1, and F1 took home 1. From the Oscars, which took place over the weekend, to what we always like to bring here on the Monday edition of Movie News Daily, a recap of the domestic box office numbers from the weekend. And this weekend, Hoppers took the top spot at number 1, grossing $28.5 million this weekend. Reminders of Him at number 2 with $18.3 million. Undertone with $9.3 million, which is a lot given that the movie had about a $500,000 budget. And I did see Undertone. Be sure to check out my out of theater reaction. There is a YouTube short if you haven't yet, and I'll have a full review up at some point this week. Scream 7 still in the number 4 spot, $8.4 million, and now over $100 million just domestically, the highest grossing Scream movie of all time. And then at number 5, it was Goat. At 6, it was The Bride. 7, Kiki's Delivery Service. 8, Wuthering Heights. And then at number 9, how about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, on the re-release, getting a top 10 spot, and then rounding out the top 10 with Crime 101. And then, of course, we always like to detail the upcoming Blu-ray releases on the Monday show, as well as those released on Tuesday. So coming out this week, you can get The Housemaid on 4K. You got the Anaconda remake that came out last year with Jack Black and Paul Rudd, Steve Zahn. That's out on Blu-ray. A 4K release of Jurassic Park. That's pretty nice. Good Boy out on Blu-ray. Looks like a 4K release of Anaconda as well. 4K release of all 3 Jurassic Park movies and Jurassic World, as I see that now on the list. Steelbook of Return to Silent Hill, as well as a Blu-ray and 4K release for it. So that's what's coming out this week on Blu-ray. If you want to check out some of these, buy physical media, guys. And then let's flash back to Friday, when it was Friday the 13th, because we did get some really good news. Not only did we get our first official images from Crystal Lake, which I'll throw these on the screen here as Bloody Disgusting shared them, but they were shared by multiple sources, of course, coming from A24 and Peacock. Still no official release date, but how about some images here? And you could just tell that's Miss Voorhees holding that knife with the sweater and the way she's holding it. Linda Cardellini probably going to do a great job with that role. And then we have some campers here. Are they banging or were they murdered or both? I don't know. Tough to tell, but definitely, throwing back some memories of that original Friday the 13th movie with that one. But probably my favorite image is just the lake here with the dock and the fog setting over it. Looks really, atmospheric. And these images really got me really excited for, Crystal Lake. But to me, that wasn't the biggest potential Friday the 13th news that we got on Friday. Perhaps even bigger for me, and TMZ shared this as an exclusive, is Sean S. Cunningham talking about a new flick being in the development phase. I really want to see Jason return to the big screen. I'm excited for Crystal Lake as anyone, but man, we need another Friday the 13th movie in theaters. And if you get on this article, he basically says that this movie would be an old school Jason style movie. And that's what I like to hear. I think Crystal Lake's going to be awesome, but it's not necessarily going to deliver what we want Jason wise. I don't think, it's going to be kind of heavily focused on a more prequel aspect, probably tying more into that original film before Jason was around. Hope I'm wrong there and we do get a little bit of Jason in it, but I would be really excited if this comes to pass. Now, Sean Cunningham has said something like this before, and nothing came about from it just quite yet. Maybe this is different. He does say it's in the development phase, so hopefully, fingers crossed we get some more news on this in the future, and Jason indeed does return to the big screen with another Friday the 13th movie. And from that great news to some more great news, one of my favorite horror movies, post 2000, because a lot of my favorite horror movies are, old school slashers from the 70s, 80s, 90s. But since 2000, one of my favorite horror movies that came out was It Follows. And when they announced they were making a sequel to it, I was super excited. Had been awaiting news on it. I think it was on my most anticipated list like last year or year before, and we still haven't gotten anything on it. But Micah Monroe has said that it's going to shoot this summer. So that looks like we'll probably get it released sometime in 2027 would be my guess, which is exciting. The sequel to It Follows, David Robert Mitchell coming back to direct. Micah Monroe sounds like she's returning as well. And I believe the title for this is going to be They Follow, if they're still sticking with that same title from the original announcement. But can't wait to hear more about this, and we'll definitely report on it as news develops. And then a pretty good update here on A Quiet Place 3, Part 3 here. John Krasinski sharing this himself on social media. He said the release date is July 30th, 2027. So not only do you have the release date, but a pretty stacked cast here as well. Cillian Murphy, or is it Killian Murphy? I never know. Emily Blunt, Jack O'Connell, Jason Clarke, Katie O'Brien, Millicent Simmons, and Noah Jupe, all going to be there participating in A Quiet Place Part 3 coming out in July of 2027. And then we also had Variety sharing this as an exclusive over the weekend. I know we reported on it in the past that they were doing like 2 simultaneous G.I. Joe treatments, one from Max Landis and one from Danny McBride, and they were going to like combine them together to, create a script for the movie is what the rumor was. But they said they're passing on the treatment from Max Landis, Paramount is. So I don't know if that means they're going with Danny McBride's pitch solely or if the whole project is now off the board currently at Paramount. But what we do know is Paramount passing on a G.I. Joe movie from Max Landis, as Variety reported it. And then just lastly, as I continue to share this to wrap up our Movie News Daily shows, a little on this day in movie history. And of course, I share this on my Instagram and I share it on social media there on X/Twitter. And if you want to follow me there, you can. You see the handle there on the screen at JC's Movies. And I'd appreciate that as I try and build up my following there on social media. But some movies that released on this day on March 16th, you had Memento back in 2001. Dumb and Dumber When Harry Met Lloyd in 2003. Hard to believe that's been that long ago. And then 21 Jump Street in 2012, also released on this day in movie history. And with that, we will put this Monday, March 16th edition of Movie News Daily into the books. Appreciate you guys tuning into this one. You heard a bunch of my thoughts on everything that we talked about. Would love to hear your opinion on anything that we discussed or anything you want to talk about, movie related for that matter. Drop it down there in the comment section. Always enjoy chatting about movies with you guys. Plus, those interactions help me as I continue to grow the JC's Movies channel here on YouTube. Having said that, I'll be back again throughout the week bringing you more movie news updates, and there'll be more movie reviews up on the channel. We got a review for Dolly up on the channel. Just put that out yesterday. I'll have one for Undertone coming later this week, so be sure you keep it locked here on JC's Movies. I'd appreciate that, just like I appreciate you tuning in this one, and I will catch you on the next one.